Hello, and welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum, where all voices matter. The province of Alberta recently presented a deficit-ridden budget, and here to talk about it is Falice Chin. She is the Alberta Bureau Chief for the online publication The Hub. Welcome to Boom and Bust.
Hi, Tony. Pleased to be here.
Great to have you. I guess, first of all, can you take us through some of the elements of Alberta's latest budget?
Yeah, this is, like you said, it's a deficit budget. It's not the first one from the Danielle Smith government. The last fiscal year, just ending soon, is also was also a deficit budget, but this one is quite big. We had anticipated possibly it was going to go into the double digits, and I think they made some last minute tweaks, which we could also talk about, that really brought it down just below 10 billion dollars in deficit. I know you're in Ontario, so that may not sound like a huge number, but for Alberta, that is big. Certainly to GDP, that still puts us to in a very good situation. But that is notable because apps like let's take away the COVID years because it's not
Sure.
really quite apples with apples. But this was the closest to a Rachel Notley NDP budget,
Mm.
in the $10 billion red ink mark. But more notably, too, is the projected deficits for the following years after that are also in the $7 billion range. So there appears to be no path toward balance, and that is probably just as newsworthy as the big eye-watering amount posted for the following year.
So why do you think this happened? I mean, this doesn't sound like a conservative Alberta budget to me.
You're right, and if you were to post, Danielle Smith from when she was the leader of the Wild Rose and how she would have presented a shadow budget back then, you could almost have a video of her debating herself. There are hardly any cuts. Maybe some at the margins, very very small amounts. Notably, education, healthcare, social programs, all the entitlements basically get a bit of a boost, significant boosts for education and healthcare. Um, but there are several narratives at play here. The government
Mm.
is framing this as a budget that that is there to meet the demands of a growing population. And in the week ahead of presenting the budget, Danielle Smith presented an address saying, we've had lots of immigrants in recent years. The Alberta Calling campaign was a big success. So, that like with that comes an infrastructure deficit, and so we're trying to play catch up. The other narrative that what became more central to all of this is on the revenue side, which is a drop in oil prices, softer oil prices in recent months, below what the government had projected. This was a problem last year too, but it became more acute this year. And so, just to give you a sense of that, the public sector or the government needs about $75 WTI pricing to balance its books. And, any dollar drop in that, pricing, it translates to 680 to 750 million dollars, or sorry, yeah, $1 billion in $1 million in revenue for the government. So it
Right.
is a really big amount for every tweak. So depending on how you look at how they formulate the royalties. So this government has become, and as previous governments have become very dependent on royalties. So this is also a
Right.
question around royalties.
Yeah, and you've written that they chose stability over major fiscal reform. Is that still your view?
So I mean, absent of the big number and all of that, if you just look at what the budget presents, it's basically a stay the course, status quo kind of budget. And
Mhm.
had the oil prices been more stable at, 70 something dollars, it wouldn't have looked that different from previous budgets. Um, the UCP government did run surpluses in the beginning, but that was due to really strong commodity
Right.
prices too, right? So if you look at the spending side, it's pretty stable. It's going along with inflation, maybe even actually, as one economist has crunched the numbers, shown that they're actually spending above
Above inflation.
inflation and population growth. So, but not like a crazy amount. So if
Right.
you look at it that way, then it's sort of not rocking the boat kind of budget, not a Ralph Klein slash and burn kind of
Sure.
deal.